Welcome everybody to our Green Acres. I'm so glad you came over to our channel today. And if you are new to my channel, I want to introduce myself. My name is Teresa. Today's video is going to be a compilation video of some videos I have done in the past. This is going to just be abbreviated, shorter versions. I've picked out some highlights from each video just to show y'all some of the best projects that I've made and some of the things that I'm still using in my home today, and I'm so enjoying them. So I want to bring them along to y'all in case you haven't seen the videos, and just kind of give y'all inspiration and ideas of all the many things that we can make from a lot of things that we may already have at home. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video, and as always, I hope y'all get lots of inspiration and ideas for your home. I also wanted to mention that the longer version of each video will be down in my description box. So if you want more tutorial, more information, and more DIYs, you can go out and click on the links and go out and watch the longer version of each video. If you haven't joined my Facebook home decor page, I'd love for you to go over and join it, and also go over and follow me on Pinterest and Instagram. Okay, the first project we're going to start with is going to be a French country rooster. This was a popular item to make, and basically I took a thrift store frame, and you want to take a frame that you feel like is kind of, complimentary to the French country style, if that's what you're going for. And in this case I was, because to me roosters just scream French country. So of course it had this beautiful fish on it, and it was funny. My friend Linda, she watched this video and she messaged me and she said, I think that was my fish picture. She said she donated this a while back, so this possibly could have been recycled from my friend Linda. So anyway, I took the little fish off of it, and I'm doing my candle wax method, like I show you in all my videos. This is my favorite, way to distress. You put it over your base, you apply your paint, and then you just use a little scraper, and then you just scrape over it to distress. Now I'm going over it with some linen white chalk paint, and then I'll just go over it with a couple of coats. And like I say, and after I get my paint on there and it's dry, then I'll go with a plastic scraper and I'll distress it. You don't have to use sandpaper. And as you can see, I also painted the background white, because basically I want all of this to be white. And then I'm going to get a graphics that I'm going to download from the Graphics Fairy. And I'll have a link to the Graphics Fairy down below, but that's where I get a lot of my graphics that I use for my decoupage. They have a great selection of just about anything that you want, they'll have it. And so I picked this one, and I thought this one was so it just really went with my frame, because he's black and white, and I've got a lot of that black and white now in my frame. So I'm just going to use some, a lot of times I use Gorilla Spray adhesive, because to me it's easier than Mod Podge, but I do use it outside. So I take my graphic outside and I just spray it on, and I'm showing you another option could have been Mod Podge. So I just always, when I put a graphic on, just to make it kind of blend in more with the background so it don't look like it's just glued on, I take my sanding block and I just go over it really lightly and kind of sand it around the edges, and that kind of makes it look like it is made into the background. And then we're just going to add a really French country bow to it, and I think this turned out really cute. You don't get out what you're putting in. All your hopes and efforts are all in vain. Who will pick you up when you've lost everything? Does it all become for granted with a wedding ring? Okay, y'all, we're going to make the Fringe Dollar Tree rug. And this was a very popular item, and I used this in my home for a very long time. And it got a little ragged and a little dirty. So I finally threw it away, and I hated it. I loved this. But you basically take a little Dollar Tree rug, and the one that I picked said Our Nest. And so you've got $1 in the rug. I take some drop cloth and cut it into strips, and then you want to tie those in a knot in the center, and that's going to be what's going to be our fringe. And we're just going to go around each edge of that rug with some hot glue, and we're just going to attach them all, on both ends. And that is as simple as that. And I had several people that made this rug, and they posted pictures of them over on my Facebook home decor page, and they turned out so cute. And you could use just about, you could use a different type of rug if you wanted to. If you don't have one from Dollar Tree, you can take any kind of rug that you have. This one, is kind of a sturdier type rug, but if it's got a smooth edges on it, you should be able to glue your little knotted strips on the end and make some fringe for it. So I think this was one of my favorite projects right here. Okay, in this project, I'm going to show you how I recovered a little footstool that I've had for many years. And I had purchased this at Marshall's, and you could see it was back in the day, when leopard print was really trendy. And I had a lot of that in my home, and I absolutely love it. I still love it, actually. But I felt like this little footstool needed to see some better days, and it needed a refresh. So I just unscrewed the top cushion off, and that little bottom part is metal. So I'm going to take my candle wax, of course. I'm going to cover that base because I'm going to leave it black, and then I'm just going to paint it, and I'm actually going to go with white. So I just painted over it. I distressed it just to give it a little bit more of that chippy worn look. And then I'm going to show you how I recover the seat, and then we're going to put a cute little French stencil on it. So here you can see I chalk painted it, and I did, a couple of coats on it. And once it dried, then I got my plastic scraper, and I just went around and I just put some distressing on it. And if y'all watched any of my videos, this method right here is the method that I use a lot to distress. And you can see how easy it pulls that paint off. And it just gives it more of a chippy look. Sandpaper, a lot of times will give you that scratchy look, especially on metal. So I love the little plastic scraper. So I'm just taking a piece of drop cloth, and this drop cloth is a little tighter woven than some that I typically use. So and it's a little bit lighter of a color. So drop cloth, they are different. They do vary, and a lot of times I pick them up at Lowe's, but I think this one I actually ordered off of Amazon. So I pressed it real good just to get as many wrinkles out of it as I could, and then we're just using some hot glue. I'm going to glue this to my cushion and go all the way around. A lot of times when people upholster or recover a cushion, they use a little staple gun. Well, I just used my hot glue, and it worked just fine. And to this day, I am still using that little footstool, and I've just really been real happy with it. I've really enjoyed it since I freshened it up. Now, like they always tell you on the ends, you just kind of go like you're wrapping a present, and that's what I did. I just kind of folded those edges down as best I could, and, just work as many of the wrinkles and creases out of it as you can, get it as smooth as you can, and pull it really tight. When my mama used to say, ooh, happiness requires work every day. Tell you what you feel or who you are. Now that I got the cushion recovered, now I want to add a stencil, and this is one of my favorite stencils. I've used this one so many times. It's linked in my Amazon store, and I have a link to it down in my description box. But I just basically placed the stencil, I centered it on top of my cushion, and just using some black chalk paint, I'm just going to, stencil it on, and this came out really good. I've always had really good luck stenciling on cloth for some reason. I don't know why. You put me on wood and it's a whole different story. But anyway, and like I say, I am still using this little footstool today, and I love it. Hope y'all enjoying the video so far, and I'm going to show you in just a few minutes how I make this no-sew table runner. So y'all keep on watching. Now I'm going to show you how to make a cute little small blanket ladder. I made this out of some scrap wood I had and also some paint sticks from Lowe's. And I'm using the longer paint sticks that come 3 to a pack. And I'm just, the measurements for all of the wood that I used for this will be in the original video description box. And I'll link all my original videos, the long versions of these down below. Because a lot of stuff you see in this video, along with the things I made, there was other DIYs that I made in the longer version of the videos that you may want to see how to make those things too. I just kind of picked out the highlights of each video. So I just went through now, and I'm just going to measure where I want to put my paint sticks, because you want to even them out across your boards. Whatever length of boards you have, then you want to space your paint sticks accordingly. And as you can see, I measured my paint sticks for the width of my boards, and I cut, the tops of those off. And you can cut these. They're very easy to cut. If you have a miter box saw, you could cut it like that. I think Ben cut these, out on his table saw, but they're easy to cut. And like I say, if you have a miter saw, that should work. And I'm just going to attach them to the back of my boards with using some Elmer's wood glue. You could also, nail these in, or if you have like some little small screws, you could probably screw them on. But I'm still using this ladder today, so the wood glue is held up really well. So I'm just attaching these, really good with the wood glue. And then I'm going to put some weight on it, and then I'll let it dry really good. And then, we're going to paint it and distress it. And this turned out really cute. Like I say, I'm still using it. I have used this so much, because this little ladder, you can use it just about in any space in your home. And here I'm showing you my high-tech weight system. Canned fruit and vegetables. Hey, they do the trick. So once the glue got really dry, so I just, I painted it with white linen chalk paint. And then I'm going to distress it. I think I distressed with sandpaper on this. I don't think I knew about the candle wax method at this point. But I just took my little sandpaper, and I go around, I distress it a little bit. And like I say, I've used this a lot. You can hang so many things on this. You can hang decor items on it. You can hang blankets, towels. The sky's the limit on this. And I'll let you sit back and just see a few things of how I staged it in the video. And it was around Easter time, so you're going to see some little Easter decor. If you like this video so far, I hope you'll hit that like button. And also, if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I'd love for you to. Now I'm going to show y'all how we can make a really easy no-sew ruffle table runner. And I'm going to make mine out of drop cloth, but I use 3 pieces. But if you have the correct size of drop cloth, you'll really only need 2 pieces. And all the measurements that I use for my fabric will be in the description box of the original video, and it'll be linked down below. So I'm just going to take my drop cloth, and you're going to want 2 pieces. You're going to want a larger piece for the bottom, and then we're going to layer it with a smaller piece on top. And of course, the size of your table runner that you'll make will depend on the size of table that you'll use it on. But I'm also going to show you how we can I'm going to make a 3-tiered ruffle on one end, and I'm going to also show y'all how to make some really fun embellishments to go on this table runner after we get it made. To get this really frayed effect, cut your fabric and put it in the washing machine and dry it. Take it out of the dryer and you get this really good frayed edge. You will want to trim off that stringy part that you just saw me do. And then I just take my fingers and I just go around and I just kind of fluff it up and I just kind of work that little fringed edge just to kind of give it that ruched look, because we want that texture to it. And, just kind of want to work it. And this is the little more narrow piece that we're going to put in the center of the drop cloth, and I just went around with my iron and I pressed it. This is what I'm making one of the ruffles with, and it's going to be the flour sack towel, and I'm just going to go over it and just kind of work some of the wrinkles out of it, because it's really wrinkled when you first get it. And then I'm just going to cut that. I'm just ripping that edge off, and I want to get that sewed edge off of it where I've got a rough edge. And then I'm just kind of going around with my fingers and I'm just kind of fraying the edges of this, because this is what we're going to make the ruffle out of. Now that I've got those edges frayed, now I'm showing you we're going to want to make the width of the ruffle 7 inches. So I'm taking my ruler and I'm going down the whole length of the ruffle and I'm marking 7 inches. So when I cut it, I'll have a really straight edge to it. It'll be, even all the way across. So a lot of times if I don't mark things and I get to cut and I get off on my cutting. So now I've got hopefully a good even 7 inches of a width. And now we're going to want to take and we're going to want to put pleats in it. Now to do that, we're going to go 2.5 inches. Every 2.5 inches, I'm going to put a little dab of glue and we're going to loop a piece of that flour sack cloth over to form a pleat. And as you can see, how I'm doing it. And you want to go all the way down the length of the flour sack cloth until you get those 2.5 pleats. And then once we get the whole thing with the 2.5 pleats at the top, then you want to go in between those pleats. Add a little bit of dab of glue, and you're going to want to do the same thing, but you're going to go right in the center of that 2.5 pleat. So I hope all this makes sense. And like I say, there's a whole lot more detail in the original video if you need more of a tutorial. So now I'm going to do the same thing with a piece of drop cloth, because I want texture and I want layers on this. So I'm making a layered ruffle. So I'm doing the same process on the drop cloth. I'm going, I'm making my larger pleat, and then I'll go in between that pleat and I'll make a pleat in the center of that. And I think I made, by the looks of this, I made this ruffle a little bit, I didn't make it as wide. So it's going to be a little bit narrower. Now I'm going to show you how we can make some really cute embellishments, and these were real popular and I enjoyed making these so much. I still do, but it's just a little rosette, and I just cut a little circle pattern out of a piece of a cereal box, and you really don't even have to cut out a circle pattern if you don't want to, but to me, when I started making these, it just was easier to me. But you just take strips of fabric, and you can take scraps, and I just ripped the seam off of, I think it was a piece of drop cloth, and I just used it, and you just secure some hot glue in the center of the circle, and you just start wrapping and twisting your fabric strip until you get the desired size that you want. Now if you want a larger one and you was to run out of your fabric strip, just apply some hot glue, attach your fabric, some more fabric, and just keep on twisting and turning it until you get the desired size that you want, because I made large ones and I made some small ones. So now I'm just showing you the different variations of the ruffles that I made. These I made out of some old bed sheets, so always remember bed sheets make great great fabric for our projects. And I'm just showing you how you can layer your ruffles. You know, I've got 3 layers of ruffles, and I've got different patterns in fabrics and textures, and I'm showing you how cute those little rosettes look on it. And you can add little pearls to your rosettes. You can add some totally dazzled jewelry, you know, just whatever you have on hand. Now we're going to put the runner together, and the runner was so long I just kind of had to piece it together with pins, and I'm having to piece my centerpiece in 2 pieces because it ended up being so long, so I had to have 2 pieces because my drop cloth wasn't long enough, so I kind of had to piece 2 pieces together to make it work. But anyway, it worked. So I'm just going through now, and I'm using all hot glue to attach my table runner. And of course, if you sew, you know, and you have a sewing machine, you could absolutely sew this whole thing if you wanted to. So there I am. I'm gluing the center of where I'm having to piece mine together, but you never see this, so it wasn't an eyesore or anything. It all worked out. So I'm just putting that center panel down in that wider panel, and like I say, it just layers it and just gives it more texture. Now I'm just applying the ruffles to the ends with some hot glue, and I'm going to add that wider ruffle. The 7-inch one, I'm going to put it down first and just go all the way down to the end and secure it down with some hot glue, and then I'll go over it and add a second layer. Now here, if your ruffle is too long after you get it attached, I just took my scissors and I just trimmed it up to the length I needed it, and then I just kind of folded it over just to give it a smooth edge, and I just used a little bit of hot glue to do that, and then that way you've got a real smooth edge on the end. And there's that bottom ruffle, and y'all look how cute that is. You would never know that we did not sew this and we used hot glue. And you can put a little piece of lace across, just add a little bit more trim to it. And I absolutely love this and I made the ends different for video and purposes, so I would have 2 ends to show y'all of the, a couple ways that it looks like. So there they are. Okay, now that we're on the no-sew and the ruffles, let's move on and make some cute little tea towels. And we're going to use the same process for the ruffles. And I'm using flour sack towels again. I get these at Dollar General, and you get a 2-pack for $2. So y'all, you can't beat it. And I just made a ruffle out of a drop cloth, and I'm not going to show how to make it because I just showed you, but I did the same process. And I made the ruffle, with the hot glue glue, no sew, and I just attached it to the bottom of the flour sackcloth. And you'll just want to make it long enough to where it'll fit. Now I'm just showing you options of different graphics you can cut out. These are just some that I liked, but we're going to put a graphic on it. And there's that rooster. I love him. And there's a colorful rooster, and these come from the Graphics Fairy. And I'm just, like I say, I'm giving you different ideas and inspiration for things that you can put on tea towels. You can pretty much put anything on them. And you can also stencil. You can do your IOD stamps on these little cute tea towels. But back then, I don't even know if their IOD stamps were really trendy at the time when I made this video, but I think those would work great. And old recipes. These are some old recipes of Ben's grandmother's. We acquired both of his grandmother's recipe boxes, and I absolutely love their recipe collections. Some are handwritten, and some, they have torn out. And, you can even put family recipe cards and stuff like that. You can, personalize them and put those on towels, and I think those would make great Mother's Day gifts if you're looking for something sentimental and special and different. So now I'm going to go with the little black and white rooster again. I really liked him. And so I'm taking my flour sackcloth, and I got the center of it, and I pinned it where the center is, because that way I'll know where to put my graphic. And again, these flour sackcloths, they get a little wrinkled because they're really thin, but I just went over it and pressed some of the wrinkles out. Now I want to put some parchment paper up under it, because I'm going to use Mod Podge, and that Mod Podge is going to bleed through that fabric because it's so thin. So you don't want to get it on your surface, if you're working on, your table or something. Make sure to put something up under it, and I put the wax paper in it so that cereal box won't bleed. You don't want colors to bleed up through your towel either. And I just applied Mod Podge to the back of it, and this is just paper. I print out on just a regular inkjet printer. I think we've got a Canon printer, and that's what we use. It's just a little cheapo printer from Walmart, but it works great for my projects and my graphics. And then I go over it again with Mod Podge. Now the Mod Podge I'm using is for fabric, because they sell different kinds of Mod Podge. You can use any kind you want. You can just go over it and seal it, but this is supposed to be where you can get it wet. So this is going to be what I'm going to make my ruffle out of. Now this is a piece of buffalo check fabric, and I think I purchased this at Walmart a while back. Now I'm going to cut it, and I think I'm probably I've measured it. The measurements for the cloth will be in my description box of the original video, but I doubled it. Did you see that? I folded my ruffle on this one, and now I've got a double. So I've got a front and a back, because the print on this, I want it to be on the front and the back, and then too, it's going to make the ruffle even fuller. So I'm doing again, I'm measuring out, I'm doing a little dab of glue, and then I go over it, and then I put a little dab of glue, and then I work it back. You're just kind of working your fabric over and and back to get a pleat. And I'll go all the way across like I did when I made the table runner ruffles. I'll just do the same thing, make those larger pleats till I get to the end, and then I'll go in between the center of those, and I'll make the smaller ones. And look what a cute no-sew ruffle that this makes, and it's so easy and so quick. And now that I get the whole ruffle made, and of course you wanted to measure out your fabric so you have it the whole length of your flour sackcloth, now that I've got it made. And and when I got to the end, I couldn't decide, did I want to lay the ruffle on top of the towel or underneath. Either way, it looked good, but I went with underneath. Now I'm putting it all underneath, but I've got that sewed seam on the flour sackcloth, so it looks real smooth and it looks good. But you could also go across the top of it with a piece of ribbon. Go with black ribbon or a piece of lace or something if you want to add a little bit more detail to it. And there I am. I'm just smoothing out that edge that I cut off, and there it is. And I think this turned out so cute. I still use these to this day, and these are really cute paired on that little mini ladder that we made. You can use these so many ways. So I'm just going to let y'all see now of the different ways that you can style this cute little tea towel, these little cute little tea towels that we just made. Now here's a really fun little spring summer decor item. And this right here is my inspiration picture. I think I saw this on Pinterest. Because when I saw it, I thought, I have to make that. So I got a large shovel from Dollar Tree. And you may can find these at Walmart or maybe Dollar General. But you just want the larger, a little shovel. And then I just went in with some celery, green chalk paint, and I just painted over the whole thing. And if you ever have trouble getting your chalk paint or paint to stick to plastic, spray it with Mod Podge first, because that will help it stick better. And then I just added some of my pretty tulips that I have in my Amazon store. And y'all, I just ordered another set of these. I love these tulips that much. And I just added a burlap ribbon and a pink bow. And that's just how easy this little shovel was to make. Now I'm going to show y'all how we can make a really cute little burlap lavender wall decor. This is my inspiration picture. I saw this, and again, I thought I have to make that. So I'm using some scrap wood. This is actually some kind of flooring. My friend Linda gave it to me, and it's already got distressing on it. But I just secured the backs of them and put them together with some popsicle sticks. Then I'm going to go over it with some chalk paint, and I want to give it more of a whitewash look. If you do not have scrap wood, you could also use those 2 long signs that, they have out all the seasons at Dollar Tree. Those, you could use the backs of those. Those will work well too. Now I'm just letting you see the whitewash effect I'm going for, and you just kind of have to work this, this little paint technique till you get it the way that you like it and how you desire it. Because I want some of that distressed wood to come through, so I don't want to go over it real thick and in layers to where you can't see it. I want some of that wood to show through. So I'm just kind of showing you how I put it on my brush, and then I'm just going to work it in areas. And that's the best thing to do, is just work in small areas first. If you get heavy-handed, just keep rubbing over it and kind of go in opposite directions. That way you kind of work that paint around. You get it into those grooves, and you kind of, you kind of get it faded out some. And it kind of, makes it not look so heavy in areas. Just keep working over it with your brush. And this is just a technique that you really just have to do, and you kind of have to practice. But the more you do it, the better you'll get. I'm not a good painter, so for me, this technique, I struggle with it myself. But, it's a big area here, and I feel like if I get too much paint somewhere, all I got to do is get some sandpaper, and I can sand some of it off if I need to. So here it is, once I got it the way I wanted it. I got it all over the whole board, and you can see we've got some of that distressing and some of that wood coming through. Now I'm taking a very large coffee bean bag. There's a store kind of close to me. It's a floral shop, and they sell all kinds of little things, but they sometimes have a big pile of coffee bean bags, and they're $2 each. Whenever I run across them, I always pick up a couple, because you can make so many things out of them. So I just cut one of those up, and I wanted the writing on the front of it. So I got an area that had some writing, and now I'm just hot gluing it on, and I want it to look like a pocket. So I kind of folded down the front, made a little cuff on the front, and now I'm going to put a little bit of stuffing in it just to give it some form. And then I'm just going to stick some really cute little florals in the top of it. I'm going to add some ribbons to it, some vintage keys, so I think I put a little hang tag on it, but I'm going to show you the ways that you can style this and use this in your home. And I've had this hanging up ever since I made it. I just took it down to hang up something new, but I have really enjoyed this, and I will be taking it back out and putting it back up eventually. I just kind of change out my decor as I go, or if I make new things or I get new stuff, but I'm definitely keeping this in the rotation department because I really love it. And you'll see in the video, I add a hanger to it, but you can add, whatever kind of hanger you want. You could add, strips of fabric to make a hanger. You could add twine to it so you can hang it up. So here it is. And like I say, I have really enjoyed this. And you can change your florals out for the seasons. Right now, I currently have lavender in it, but you could put any kind of florals in it. At Christmas time, you could put Christmas, and at fall, you could change it out and put fall floral. So this made a really great decor piece because, like I say, it's so versatile for all the many seasons. Okay, the next project, we're going to make a farmhouse straw bag, and we're going to take a rug, but this was my inspiration. These are pretty pricey if you buy them, as is. So I wanted to try to make my own. So I had this rug I purchased from Dollar General. I spray painted one side of it, and I think that color of Rust-Oleum spray paint is called straw. But anyway, it kind of gives me, it looks like a straw bag now. So I just hot glued up the sides. I left the top open, and then I made me some handles out of, beads. And I have some beads linked in my Amazon store, so if you're interested in a good variety pack, I have some, and they work really well for making the garlands and just working on your projects in general. So I took my beads and I made my handles, of course, the same size. I'm just knotting the ends, and then we'll use some hot glue and attach my handles. And this bag turned out so cute. And like I say, it was very affordable, and it just gives you a piece of decor where you don't have to go out and spend a lot of money. Now, after you get your bag made, you can fill it with anything you want to. You could even put a stencil on the front of it. You could even put, like a decoupage graphic on the front of it if you wanted to. I just left mine plain, but you can add florals to this, greenery, just whatever you want to put in it. So now it's ready.
All the magic places in the world I've been to, this is where my heart is. Oh, it's true. No matter where I go, I'm coming home to you.
The next project, we're going to make a shabby chic wood tray out of scrap wood, and I used some 1x4 boards, and they are 14 inches long. So I just took scrap pieces that I had, and then I'm showing you what I had some that were 20 inches long. So the two shorter ones, the 14 inch, are going to be my side boards, and then the 20 inch ones are going to be my bottom boards. And this is basically the structure, how I'm going to design the tray. And now I'm just going to glue it together using some Elmer's wood glue, and I'm going to glue the bottom first, and then I'll put the side pieces of wood down the sides.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much?
Now, once I got the bottom all glued together, next I'm going to put my graphic on before I apply the sides. And I just printed out this graphic off of the Graphics Fairy website, and I'll link it down below. And I'm just kind of getting those sideboards, getting those positioned so I can, know where the center is for my graphic. And I want to leave a little bit of an edge on the ends. So I'm just kind of measuring and marking. So when I go to glue, I'll have my marks and I'll know where to place my boards back.
I love you. You put my favorite song on. I put my feet up and we just sing along. And I can't help but feeling just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving.
Now that I have everything measured and I have everything marked where I want it, now I'm going to go in and permanently put my wood pieces on the sides, and I'm going to use hot glue again. Not hot glue, I'm sorry. I'm going to use Elmer's wood glue again to attach these.
Forever, 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 forever. I watch you as you sleep. You don't know I'm looking. With you, everything's complete. Do you know how much?
Now that I've got the wood tray assembled and glued and everything is dry, now before I apply my graphic, I'm going to stain it. And I'm going to put a base coat on it so I will have a good base to distress that'll come through, my chalk paint. So I'm just going to use some brown craft paint, and I'm making my own stain, and you just do that. You can take any kind of inexpensive craft paint you want. You can even use the 50-cent, and I just, put some water in it, and you want to water it down. And you don't have to water it down. You can use it full force if you want to. I've done that before, but basically you just want to get that brown base and let it dry, and then when you apply your chalk paint on top of it and you distress, then you get that really nice wood color coming through. Okay, now once I got my board all stained and I got it the way I wanted and it dried, then I'm taking my candle wax and I'm going over it with that candle wax method, because wherever you put that wax, that will easily help your when you go to distress with your plastic scraper, it'll help lift that paint off. And I have a lot of comments, asking if you put the wax residue on, will it make your paint come off, all over? It doesn't. It just balances out. It don't, just make if you don't want distressing in that area and you've got some candle wax down, it will be okay. You just kind of go over the places that you want distress and kind of rake your plastic scraper across it, and it just takes it off where it needs to. Now this is the graphic that I chose, and I've cut it down, and then I've applied it with some Gorilla Spray adhesive. Y'all know that's what I prefer to use on my projects if I can. You could also use Mod Podge, and then a lot of times after I apply graphics on top of my my wood, or where it's chalk paint, I'll go around with some sandpaper and I'll go around on those edges and stuff just to kind of make it blend in with the wood a little bit better, just so it doesn't look like a piece of paper I've glued on my wood. You just want it, and kind of make it look kind of worn like your board. So that's what I'm doing here with my with my sandpaper. Now here I'm just showing you, I'm going back over it with the sandpaper, just kind of smoothing out my sides. A lot of times when you chalk paint, you will have some rough texture, and a lot of times if you'll take some sandpaper and kind of go back over it, it'll smooth it out and give it more of a smoother finish. So that's kind of what I'm doing here, and then I'm kind of going over some of the edges, and just I want it to look as worn as I can. Now I've had these hardware handles in my supplies for a long time. A lot of times I find stuff like this at yard sales and thrift stores, and when I do, I pick it up. So these fit just perfectly on this tray. So for videoing purposes, I think I just stuck them on with some hot glue, but of course you could screw them on. And I think they fit great for the tray and look perfect on it. So now I'm going to style it for you and just let you see all the ways you can use this tray. And I still have this tray out in my decor now. I actually have it in my kitchen, and I've got it standing up like you see right here, and it's on my open shelving in my kitchen. And I really enjoyed this piece.
Together, if I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever, forever. this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking?
The next project's going to be a little scrap wood drawer. Y'all, I love drawers. And anytime I'm at like an antique store and they have old, dresser drawers and things like that, if they're not too expensive, I always try to pick them up because I love decorating with them. Well, I had the idea last year of like, why can't we just make one of our own? So I took some of my scrap wood that I have, and I have various sizes, but I got 4 pieces that were about the same size for the sides and for the bottom, and then I went through and tried to find some that were the right size for the front and the back. And again, the measurements to all the wood that I use will be in the original video's description box. And there's my high-tech weight system: canned vegetables and canned soup. So after I got the boards assembled and I hot glued, there I go, I wood glued all my pieces together. And the front kind of overlaps because that's kind of how drawers do. It's a little bit longer, so it's going to overlap on the sides. And then I just took it outside and I spray painted it with the Rust-Oleum spray paint. It looks like I did this one cream. And then I'm going to apply those little finial feet, craft feet that I get at Lowe's. And I just went around with some sandpaper. I gave it some distressed look, and this little drawer turned out to be such a great piece for my decor, and I still use this today, and I absolutely love it because you can decorate the inside, and I'll show you when we get to the staging part of the things you can do the inside of it. But here I wanted a little bit darker of a distress to it, so I took a brown Sharpie. And I just went around the edges of that wood. And that wood is kind of rough. It's kind of a rustic, rough type wood. And I didn't sand it because I like that little rough look. But I just kind of went over it with a Sharpie very lightly. And that kind of gives you a little bit more of a distressed, dark look to it. And once I got my Sharpie on there, then I just kind of went over it with a sanding block just to kind of blend it in. And then I just go across the front and just kind of give it a little bit of, dimension, a little bit of texture, and going around on the sides. And like I say, you just very lightly, and I've got my Sharpie kind of on its side. So, because you don't want to get heavy-handed on this and make it look like you've got pen marks on it, but you just kind of want to, just kind of hit it a little bit with the side of your brown Sharpie. And here I added the feet to the bottom, and I just used some Gorilla wood glue to attach them, and they attach really well, and they're still on. They have not come off, and they've held on really well. Now the front of it is the fun part because you can embellish it now any way you want to. You can put whatever kind of hardware you want on it, whatever kind of drawer pull you have. If you have glass doorknobs, I think that would be beautiful. I'm showing you here a couple of options of some stuff that I had on hand. These were some old kitchen door handles. When we remodeled our kitchen, we took these off. I still have them. You can spray paint them. So now I'm just going to show you some different options of how you can decorate the little drawer and how you can use it. And like I was telling y'all, you can get different kinds of scrapbook paper and you can line your drawer. And, I'm just going to give you some ideas and inspiration of how you can use the drawer.
I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. 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 stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here?
Well, y'all, it's that time again where I have to tell y'all goodbye. But hopefully I will see all of y'all again in my next video. And again, if y'all have not subscribed to my channel yet, I'd love for you to. And also, if you know anyone that would enjoy these videos, please share them with your family and friends. So until next time, I hope all of y'all have a great week. And I will see y'all in my next video. And thank y'all so much for watching. Love y'all.